Good morning, good day, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fans of the Legacy Forge podcast. For episode 9 today, we have Sebastian Uzcategui, founder
Perfect.
of,
Hard to
um,
pronounce. Most people get it wrong at
yeah,
first. Good job, man.
founder of Stocks Uni. And what was your speaking agency called?
It's speakup.express.
Speakup.express. Dropped on me at the last minute, and that's okay. He's a powerful educator and a powerful speaker and trainer, all about not just investing money, but also investing in skills um, for our legacies. It's just not teaching about finances, it's about building and shaping and changing how leaders think about not just risk, also resilience, which helps build legacy. Yeah. How are we doing today, mate?
Doing fantastic, man. Thank you so much for
Mm,
having me on. It really is an
mm.
honor.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, what's on your heart this morning, mate? What's making your heart sing?
Well, I'm not sure if we got that in the States. What does that mean? That's got to be Australian. What's that?
Yeah, it is a bit Aussie. I got ADHD, so I find patience very challenging for small talk. So we go a little bit of a deep dive into it.
Mm.
So, what's on your heart in the moment?
I see.
What?
I see. Well, really, what's been carrying me on for the past year, every day of the week, every morning that gets me out of bed, it's my passion for speaking, my passion for building a voice for myself and for other people. That's really where I'm at right now, and it's still to this day carrying me forward and carrying my vision forward.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Um, Now you've built a very successful stocks uni trading platform, and now also this speaking organization into something that's changing lives. And professional speaking is something that it's a skill, it's a life skill. But before that, what was that moment that hooked you? That I suppose your awakening or that your turning moment that
Well,
made you realize.
mm, yes, for me, it was the reason why I have so much respect and I honor the art of speaking so much is because that's what helped me finally find the success that I was looking for so long. I was working on stock scene for a very long time. I was very successful myself as an investor, but I wanted to grow a business that would, again, leave legacy, leave impact. And no matter how hard I tried, it was very difficult. Entrepreneurship is unfortunately an oversaturated world today. And so I spent tens of thousands of dollars in my own pocket trying to get uh, ads to work, funnels to work, a million different things, and nothing really clicked. I was down $20,000 of my own money at one point, just trying to get ads to work, and not a single client came through. However, I by accident got invited to speak on a stage about my business, and suddenly, with that one stage, my business quadrupled. Everything blew up. People were finally seeing my vision. I got invited to speak at other places, and I realized that in a world today where authenticity is so lacking, the only real way to stand out is with the voice. And that's why I respect the art of public speaking so much.
Mhm. And the art of the voice is something that AI tries to replace. However, what's behind the voice is the heart of the voice and the authenticity of the voice. Would that be fair to say?
Exactly right. I'm actually speaking at the end of this month at one of the biggest AI conferences here in the United States. And the reason why I got invited to speak, even though I'm a public speaker in an agency and I do have some AI, but it's not my main focus, is because they wanted me to talk about how AI is meant to be an amplifier of authenticity, not a replacement of it. And that's the reason why so many people are suffering in today's world because they're trying to automate, automate, automate. When in reality, we need to take a step back and focus on our purpose, our mission, and providing, not automating.
Would it be fair to say that AI has become like another mask for leaders, entrepreneurs, visionaries, particularly in the realm of copy, in the realm of video, that, hey, I can just punch a few commands into an app or a program and up she comes, a nice long form post. But however, that acts like a mask. What, as a disconnect between who I am and my audience with this, some sort of whatever that post copy is about. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I would even say if authenticity was already dead because of the internet, anything after 2010, it was like everything was ads, everything was sales pitches, everything was, very disconnected already. AI took that to a whole nother level where now you can't even tell if you're watching a real person or not. It's ridiculous, right? And so more to the point as to why I encourage every entrepreneur to really focus on getting on a stage. My particular industry, which was in finance, even though I had the best product with the best prices, with the best care, with the best results, all those different things I had. Imagine my amazement when I felt that even with all those things, even on focusing on making the best product imaginable, I still couldn't connect with people. People were still dealing with skepticism. We're still dealing with fear. We're still not connecting with my vision at all. And today, because I got on the stage, because I started speaking, I was able to actually connect with so many people, resonate with them. They came onto my business of finance and they're all making so much money today as investors. Now, I realize that this is an explosive industry and that I definitely need to help other people do the same thing in the world of public speaking. And that's where I'm at today.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Public speaking certainly a skill. I guess with AI, as I said earlier, it's given it a mask and also
Yeah.
added to that natural comfort that, hey, I can just use AI now and not get up on stage. I can just pump something out online, not worry about the fear of public speaking. And it is a fear. It used to bug me a lot, getting up on stage, getting in front of people, even getting my phone and putting it in front and going click with that live. And it still tests me at times.
Right.
However, it's getting rare these days of seeing people who are authentic and raw, even to the point of just
Mhm.
getting an old iPhone out and hitting live and going on Facebook. I think with the rise of AI, I could be wrong. Um, that real unedited authenticness is becoming extinct, and we have to become aware of this with AI before our authentic nature is taken away by AI, and pull back from the excuse of just use AI for this, use AI for that. No, I want to hear you, I want to see you, I want to feel you. You are human. I crave connection. I can't get
I think
connection from a machine.
Exactly.
Would that be
I
fair?
think what we're going to see here in the next decade or so is actually quite the opposite of what people are expecting. People think that if you don't use AI, you're going to get left behind, but AI is probably the first revolution that we go through as a species that people really don't like very much, right? People hate it when they call telemarketing or they call for support and it's AI. People hate scrolling through Instagram and it's AI. People hate AI bots. People are really liking it as consumers, and we're exhausted of it in general. We're exhausted of the disconnect. We're exhausted of talking to machines, and I think the people that are going to actually reap the most rewards are going to be people that take a step back and focus on a real, authentic, human-made business, right? And so, like you're describing, things as simple as going on Facebook Live, things as simple as just sitting down with an audience, yourself, and connecting with them and chatting with them. That's going to be huge. And I think the best way to scale something like that is going to be through being a person. It's the reason why personal brands have become the most effective way of growing a business in the last decade.
Exactly, exactly. And hence why retreats and things that like in-person community events have come back in the recent years since COVID sort of isolated us in the realm of isolation. Coming out of COVID, we've seen the rise of AI. However, the one thing remains: we crave connection. Yeah, we crave community and
Exactly.
connection. And the age of AI has come, yes, and it's slashed. The idea of selling information or knowledge now is obsolete. AI
Right.
has done that for us. We can get 95% of what someone tells us on Google anytime, any day, any place, pretty much any device. What we crave as humans is connection and community. Would that be fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
So
hmm. so what did
go
your
ahead.
early lessons look like? Who modeled wealth for you growing up?
Well, I'm an only child of an immigrant family here in the United States. So really,
Go the
I
only
had a
child.
right. That should be that should be
Mr.
illegal.
Independent.
Yeah, you grew up with so many issues, man. It shouldn't be illegal for parents to have only one kid. But I grew up with a really deep complex towards wealth and towards finance because I watched my parents struggle here in this country so much. Right, America is marketed as a land of the free, home of the brave, the American dream, but only if you know how to use it in the system. If you don't, you're going to be the person that ends up fueling someone else's dream your whole life. Right, that's the bitter truth of this country. And so What I discovered about wealth very early on was you're never going to achieve wealth working for someone else. You're never going to achieve wealth shying away from your voice, from your mission, and your purpose. You have to fully embody that. And no matter how difficult life gets, never allow things to detour you. People spend a year picking up a job to make ends meet, and that year turns into 10, 20, 30, then retirement, then they're done. Losing your dream and letting it slip away from you is so easy. So from a young age, I promised myself, you know what? I'm going to learn about investing. I'm going to learn about entrepreneurship. I'm going to master these things. And then I did. At 20, I quit my job, which for a 20-year-old was a very good job in banquets. I was making almost six figures as a 20-year-old in banquets, and I quit it because I knew that it was just good enough money for me to be able to be comfortable enough to forget about my dreams. And I refused to let that be the case. So wealth to me became freedom, not freedom, not money, but freedom in the sense of I can live the way that I want, doing the things that I love. So I quit my job at 20. I became a full-time trader, full-time investor, and a business owner. And that's when I launched Stocks Uni to help other people learn about the same thing. There's a whole other list of issues there, but for the sake of the conversation, I'll leave it at that for now.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And note you mentioned legacy. What's legacy mean to you?
When I was 18, before I started working at banquets, I actually got my real estate license. When I was 18, simultaneously, I started an Amazon FBA store. I did drop shipping. At one point, I even messed up so deep that I got into Amway and pyramid schemes and things like that. And I realized here's the deal, this is what legacy is to me. I realized that all those things that I was doing, sure, I can make money off an Amazon store, I can make money in real estate, I can make money doing anything. But there are two kinds of entrepreneurs. There are those who are focused on taking, receiving money, taking money, and there are those who are focused on giving, providing, leaving an impact somewhere, right? So I realized that I wasn't happy doing real estate or Amazon and definitely not doing Amway because I am not changing anything in the world. There's nothing here that has my name on it, my vision on it. So legacy to me meant changing lives. And the only way that I could do that was by starting my own businesses. And that's where Stocks Uni and Speak Up Express came from.
Speak Up Express. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, definitely impacting lives as a strong front of building a legacy, and particularly for us men. Legacy, it needs to be, and it's been conditioned out of us to be the forefront and something bigger than us. I call it the off planet experience or the
Right.
metaphysical. So some people call it the spiritual, some people call it whatever they believe in, maybe in some sort of religion. However, it's off planet, something that's much greater than you that can be around long after you live, if that makes sense. It doesn't come in the
Absolutely.
form of a statue, not in the form of a quote, not in the form of mementos, cash, cars, toys, whatever. It's something that can outlive you. Now, we see the legacies in great leaders like the Greeks and the Romans that have thousands of years that are still living on. Yeah, like Socrates and a few other leaders. Their legacies are living on. They may have long
Right.
gone. However, their teachings, their steps are living on. And that's where we get into the legacy. What can outlive me for thousands of years? And yeah, I'm a founder of a coaching company called Next Level, and I'm fascinated by leaders out of that Greek and Roman Empire.
Me too. I got some
Socrates,
books right
great
here.
thinkers. Pythagoras, yeah, Pythagoras is
Mhm.
another one. Epictetus, Seneca, all those great leaders.
Oh, I
Yes.
got, I actually got right here. I love that. I love that you mentioned that. I've got
Mm,
Seneca bust right here. This is
mm, mm,
you can see this is him
mm,
right
mm,
here. I
mm,
love that philosophy. I love that stuff. I love the
mm,
Stoics, the Cynics, the Platonic philosophies. I love all that stuff, man, because I think that that was a pinnacle for humanity's embodiment and philosophy
mm,
towards leadership. That was
mm,
definitely a pinnacle, and we've
mm,
come to lose that to some extent.
mm, mm,
I think a lot of that comes down to letting contemporary philosophies in today's world kind of rot us down. We've let complacency and mediocrity buy our dreams off of us. And we have forgotten this one word that was very prevalent in the Greek and Roman times, especially within philosophers, and it was glory. We forgot what it means to live a glorious life, right? Not an okay life, not a comfortable or a safe life. There's no glory in that. There's glory only in a complete and audacious pursuit in what the
yeah.
life is that you want. That I think we
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah. I think Marcus Aurelius and I think Epictetus have said it. Legacy is eudaimonia, I think is the term, eudaimonia, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is leaving the imprint of the flame of human mankind to pass on. So igniting others through leadership, through servanthood, through glory, or as they say, as arate, which is the name of my program. Arate is living the life of excellence,
Right.
embodied excellence at a high standard. And that's come from a lot of Socrates and Epictetus and all those great leaders right there. So yeah, very interesting legacy. Legacy, we've
Hmm.
certainly lost that in this day and age. We're chasing
Right.
the next shiny object, that next
Hmm.
car, that next paycheck, that next promotion. In some cases, that next business for a lot of us leaders, because we're stuck on one thing. We haven't learned the skills, such as speaking or the skills within trading to deal, to problem solve,
Right.
to go that next level. Yeah. Alrighty. So yeah, legacy is certainly. So leadership, trading, and speaking all face the same enemy, drift. And drift is for ladies and gentlemen out there is those uncompromisable behaviors that attack us slowly. They corrode us over time and they start small. Not keeping your word, not going to the gym, start with self, right? Not keeping our word to others. If we get into business, this particularly happens with our managers. When the managers and leaders don't keep their word to the team, they let us down. It slowly corrodes ourselves and it corrodes others. In your world, how do you see drift show up?
Well, I see it come up very often. Now, I love that you talk about this. I've obviously never met you before today, but that's something that has always echoed through my mind quite a bit. I'm very adverse to that. I come from a background of being, as a young kid, very undisciplined. I was not raised with discipline. I had to almost be my own parent and reinstill that into myself when my professional career began. And I knew that I needed to be disciplined in order to achieve all the things that I have today. I watched drift always in my life be a threat. I never let it get too far, but I always see when it's coming up. For example, I haven't gone to the gym in 2 days, and now I don't feel very motivated to go to the gym. That scares the crap out of me because I think if I don't go today when I'm not feeling it, I'm definitely not going to feel it tomorrow. And after that, I'm done. I'm done. I'm never going to want to go back. I'm going to feel like crap every time I go in there. So I'm not doing that. And then I realized, I think to myself, okay, then I have to do it today no matter what. Or for example, things with my businesses, my employees, for example. If I'm not showing them that they're working under a strong leader, how can I expect them to lead themselves? Right. So all those times where I get complacent, I feel like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can skip the meeting this week or next week or whatever. I think to myself, is this a slippery slope? What happens when they lose motivation because I wasn't there to keep them in line to share the vision with them? And so you have to be very aware of how those things start off small in your life. If you don't do it
Mm,
every day, if you don't instill that in yourself, it doesn't belong to you. That's as easy as I can put it. It doesn't belong to you. If you can't do it every day, if you lose motivation, if you only do it when you want to, it's not you. That's not who you're meant to be. You're meant to be less than that then. And that's something that I simply cannot accept within myself.
exactly, exactly. And I pick up, you mentioned modeling who you are to yourself and modeling who you are as an example to others. And modeling is another big element of the next level or the Legacy Forge podcast and within the next level community. Who we are is the example we set. Or as Jack Welch's famous quote has said, you are the standard that you accept. That lands well with a lot of people. You are the standard you accept. So
Exactly.
whether that's you accept a low standard on yourself and what standard you're putting out to others as a speaker, as traders, as leaders, what are you modeling to others?
Well, when I work with my speakers, I'm no one to impose a vision of success onto others, but I am someone to pull out that vision from within themselves so that they can see. We often, by living on this autopilot mentality mode, we don't even define what success looks like for ourselves. 90% of people, the reason why they don't succeed, it's not because they can't or because they won't. It's because they never dared to define what success looks like for themselves. When you don't define what success looks like, you also don't define what failure looks like. And that's why it's so comfortable to just live where you're at. It's very comfortable. It's very scary to define success because it means that you're going to define failure, and chances are you're going to be closer to failure than you are to success. That's a hard pill to swallow. But you have to break the walls of comfort for you to finally grow. So, with that being said, one of the questions I ask to all my speakers, it's very simple before I get them out on stages. I say, What makes you revolutionary? Why do you deserve to speak? Do you have a story? Do you have discipline? Do you have a business? What do you do that's going to change the world? What do you want to put out into the world? That is a question that will always highlight what success looks like within yourself. What do you want to change in the world, and what makes that revolutionary? If you can answer that, you've defined what success looks like, and you can start modeling yourself. I can't do it for you. I can only get you thinking. That's my philosophy.
Exactly. It comes up with a theme for this episode of wealth, legacy, and identity. Yeah, in that
Absolutely.
order, or the order that people want. Yeah, wealth, identity, and legacy. That's what we're all here today for. Yeah. Now, markets and both speaking test emotions. How do you teach people to regulate and not react?
Right. Well, those are very common issues, whatever market you're working with. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a trader or an investor, and definitely a speaker, you're working with completely volatile markets. Now, where the rich and the poor differentiate is the poor run away from risk to sell out their dreams to promises of mediocrity from corporations that will just lock them into lowball salaries. The rich don't run from risk, they conquer it. That's the difference. So when you actually face these issues of working in a volatile market, you realize that yes, it's risky, but risk can be regulated. I always know where I'm going to end up. And I always know what the best case scenario looks like and the worst case scenario. And I don't move unless that's the case. So when I'm working with, whether it's students of mine who are learning how to trade or invest, or whether I'm working with speakers, I'm always telling them, okay, these are the numbers that you can expect. So, for example, in trading, I'm looking at an 80 to 90% win rate with a maximum loss of 15% and a minimum profit anywhere between 40 to 80%. You run those numbers, and here's what it really looks like. You're taking 9 steps forward, 1 step back. You're still a whole 8 steps ahead that you otherwise would never have been. That's risk management. That's how you put it. And that applies to everything. As an entrepreneur, you're doing projects for your business. You're investing in marketing. You're investing in a better product. Yeah, there's risk always in that, but because it's controlled and you're leading the forefront of that, you know that even if something doesn't go right, you're still going to be further ahead than if you didn't move at all. So the life of an entrepreneur, leader, speaker, and trader are all defined by the same thing. You're taking the risk to move forward because you understand that if you don't start, if you do nothing, you're getting nowhere.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Take a risk. And how does discipline play an important part here?
Discipline plays a huge part, especially for traders. I tell all my students in stocks uni, now they all do great. It's not hard to make money at all. I got a guy that in the last 2 months turned 1,000 to 10,000, which is better than. I mean, proportionally, those are incredible numbers, and he's really killed it. But I tell everyone, don't look at the money, don't look at the profits. That's not difficult to achieve at all. It's hard to keep it. If you have even a small hole in your discipline, life will check you. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard this before, but I believe something like 95% of lottery ticket winners end up losing all their money within a year or two. That's pretty crazy to think about. How is it possible to lose millions of dollars? It's because when your discipline is not where it's supposed to be, life will put you in check. In life has one simple rule. You are always exactly where you deserve to be. That's it.
Exactly right.
If you're broke, you've taken actions to make yourself broke. And if you want to get rich, guess what? It's not about getting money. It's about getting a better mindset, getting a rich mindset that will make you someone that is capable of holding that. And so when I see my students make a lot of money, I tell them, take it easy. Don't forget to have a good discipline because life will put you back in check if you don't. So be smart about it. Don't focus on the profit, focus on the risk to reward. And that applies to everything in life.
And when we come under pressure, it comes back to we don't rise to the level of our dreams. We rise to the level of our training and capabilities. So the more well trained we are in our craft, the better risk adverse and the more disciplined and the better we respond against react under
Right.
pressure. Would that be fair to say? And I know it happens at speaking. I've seen a lot of professional speakers where they flip under pressure to take care of problems in the moment
Yeah.
because nobody follows a script right. And
Right.
What about traders?
Well, it applies to both worlds very, very well. I think I'll start off by answering your question on the speaker side. I do exercises for my speakers to conquer things like fear or nerves, to be able to formulate great speeches on the fly if necessary. It's not difficult, it's a question of having good leadership. And that's what I try to be for all my speakers. And I myself have spoken at the United Nations, as you can see. I've spoken on TV, I've spoken in front of hundreds to thousands of people at a time. And it's terrifying, always. It never stops being nerve wracking, but you realize that you're there to serve, right? And I just go back to my disciplines, I go back to my exercises, and I always give and deliver excellent speeches and performances because it's my duty. So I've helped
Mm,
other people do the same. Now for traders it is a little different. For my students who are looking to trade, uh, having that strong mental switch is crucial. So here's what I tell on to them is, when you're trading, when you're looking at your money, always disconnect. Always visualize what the numbers that you're looking at. Don't get emotional. Just follow the numbers to the T. So I send them a blueprint. I tell them, okay, guys, today we have this upcoming potential opportunity on Apple. We're going to buy in at exactly this price. We're going to sell at exactly this price, and we're going to cut loss exactly here. Three easy numbers. And I tell them, if you get emotional, if you get nervous, just stick to the numbers. You will never go wrong sticking to the numbers that I send out. As soon as it hits that price, sell it, no matter what. Simple as that. So it's kind of another mental switch where it helps them just stay in line no matter what's
mm,
going on.
mm.
That's part of my job.
Exactly right. Now, if someone's emotionally stuck in a moment with their emotions or decision making scattered, likely, which happens in the moment on stage, caught in a trade, don't know where to go. What's the first reset they need to take?
Oh, very simple. There's one very simple reset. It's different for both, but I'm going to give you three answers to that question: one for speaking, one for trading, and one for general life. For speaking, when you get nervous, when you get caught up, the easiest thing that you can do is silence. No one has any idea what's going on in your brain when you're silent. And it actually makes you look way more intelligent, way more controlled, and gives your words reverb, way more impact. Whatever you just said, take an awkward amount of silence. That's, trust me, that's the best thing you can do is be silent. And as soon as it starts feeling awkward, give it one more second of silence. It makes you sound like a genius. Even though in your mind you're crapping your pants like, oh crap, what do I say next? But it gives you great time to think, formulate, and plan what you're going to say next. So be silent. Don't be afraid of silence. It's actually an immensely powerful tool as a speaker. As a trader, best thing that you can do, whatever money that you have, whatever money that you put into the market, visualize it like it's not even yours anymore. Whatever market that you've got out there, you got to realize you can't work with anything that you're not prepared to lose. Put it in there and let it come to you. You're not there to predict the market. You're there to let the market tell you what it's going to do and play along. That's it. So my mental switch for traders is very simple. It's just stick to numbers, stick to the discipline, and that's all you got to do. If you see the number go up, whether you see it go down, as long as you're following the blueprints, you're safe. Okay. And in general, for life, when you feel the nerves kick in, when you feel things get hard, when you feel like emotions are taking over, the easiest thing that you can always do is think back to your why. Remember, you're a provider at the end of the day. It's not just you, it's not just your wealth, it's not just your money, it's your mission. When you believe deeply in your mission and you believe that you're the only one that can put out to the world what you want to put out, things change. Your nerves go away, your fear, your insecurities go away. You're a crusader for your purpose and for your mission in life. And you need to embody that.
Mm, exactly right. Exactly right. Silence is peace. Silence also gives an opportunity to get out of your head because the head's
Right.
consciously going crazy in the moment. Take a deep breath and drop into your heart. Whether you're passionate speakers, I can tell a passionate speaker from a mile whether they're in their head or their heart. If a speaker's in their heart, nothing stops them in the moment. They bang, bang, bang. They've just got this fire about them, this energy and a message that cuts through so deeply to their audience. Whether someone in their heads is they're thinking, the mind's cognitively churn, churn, churn. And I guess it'd be the same with trading as well. They're looking at the charts. The charts are going up and down. They're going up. They're wondering when's the next flat or the next dive. Pausing, just trusting the process, getting out of the head and stepping into the heart and go, right, let's do this on instinct. Have a plan, stick to your plan, but don't let the emotions stand in
Exactly.
the way. Would that be fair to say? Because once we
It's
start
self
letting
faith.
emotions cloud us,
Right.
we
It's just
lose.
self faith. That's
Yeah.
really all it is. So at the end
Mm,
of the day, when you're in this path of entrepreneurship, whatever you're doing, you got to realize It's the first time in your life that you may be walking your own way. So every other time in our lives, what are we really doing? We're listening to a manager. Whatever we do wrong, they take accountability for. Whatever we do right, they take the credit for. It's nothing really belongs to us. They sell out our autonomy, or rather, we sell it to the corporation again for a low balled salary. That's it. You're getting rid of your accountability. No, none of your wins really belongs to you. None of your losses belong to you. Right? When you're an entrepreneur for the first time, it does. It's on you. Whether you failed or whether you succeeded, it is fully on you. That's difficult to deal with for a lot of people. But I would say you're exactly right. You have to stick with your vision, right? It's not about being stubborn in your path. It's about being confident in your destination. That's what it is. And so self faith is very difficult. But I would say to people, never forget why you're doing what you're doing. And that helps you always stay on track, even in your darkest moments. It just gives you your why. And you gotta remember always that some of the greatest, most successful people were just one dark day away from quitting. So don't let that happen to you.
Exactly. What do you want people to remember more, Sebastian the trader or Sebastian the teacher?
I'll give you one better. Just Sebastian, period. Just that's it. That's it. When you're a human being, and especially when you have a personal name and personal brand, what makes being a public speaker so beautiful is you're building a name that you can do whatever you want with. You don't have to limit yourself to one thing for the sake of monetizing it. A lot of people will do that. They'll be like, "Hey, this is me. I'm a barber. I'm a trader. I'm a mechanic, whatever, or I'm a car flipper, whatever." That limits you. I mean, you don't put on this planet to be just one thing. We're filled with so many passions. I'm passionate about trading. I'm passionate about writing. I'm an author. I'm passionate about speaking. I'm passionate about a million different things. And I want to be able to grow in whatever I choose to grow in. So I want to be remembered just as myself. And whatever I choose to do, let the profit come with me because I've already built a name for myself. And that's why speaking is so powerful.
Yeah, speaking is definitely so powerful. If you had one principle like your own, as the Greeks called the Arate code, to
Mm.
hand down to every student, every protege that crosses your path, what would that be?
Well, I always tell people, I close all my speeches the same way. There is nothing riskier than staying where you're at. Move, start, act. Depression, all the worst things in our lives come from stagnancy, come from complacency. The moment you start feeling depressed, the moment that you start feeling stuck, uh, bored of your life, one thing is simple: take a risk, take a leap, move, and act. And all the things that you've been postponing in your mind with artificial excuses. There is nothing riskier than staying where you're at. And the one best cure for everything wrong in our lives is simply to move.
To move, take action. Take action on something, even
Mm-hmm.
the small steps. Take action, just move. They call it breaking state in some of the personal development teachings. Break state to break out of that state that's paralyzing us. Just do something, jump up and down, do whatever, just move, move. What's
Exactly
one
right.
failure that's taught you more than any win, either on stage or in the markets?
Wins as an entrepreneur are actually not our favorite things, believe it or not. Wins are fruits, wins are flowers, and they're nice, but really it's the failures that are the roots of our plant. And so you learn more from failure always than any success. And I think where I learned the most from in my failures was, hmm, well, I like to say that I'm always learning. I think most recently my failure wasn't even a major failure, but it was stepping on a stage. I got flown out to speak in Tennessee. I stepped on a stage and I did great. I did good, but I didn't do excellent. I didn't do perfect. And I realized it's because, wow, for a second there, I got complacent in my speaking. I didn't prepare the best speech that I possibly could because I was confident in the fact that I'm already a good speaker. I hated that. I hated myself for realizing that, wow, I let myself get complacent, even if it was a little bit. Drift, you talked about it. I felt that little tiny bit of drift come in where I'm like, wow, I didn't really write a good enough, not a script, but a list of points. I didn't really structure this as good as I could have. I was only there to be a good speaker, but I'm not satisfied walking out of anything if I'm not the single best keynote speaker. It has everyone come up to him afterwards. I'm not happy if that's not the case. So I realized that I let that slip away from me a little bit. That was my most recent failure, and the one that again I always learned the most from is my most recent failure.
Failure is how we learn, and more importantly, failing forward. Yeah,
Mhm.
as John Maxwell said in his classic book, Failing Forwards. Yeah. What do
Amen.
people misunderstand most about wealth, success, or even you personally?
Well, I would say the thing that people most often hmm, misinterpret, especially about wealth, it's not cash. It's not money. It's got nothing to do with that. The more that you chase money, the more it slips away from you. Now you're a philosophy man. You've read Seneca, and you know one of his most common quotes. Seneca was, of course, a very wealthy Roman man, right? And he was criticized for that quite often. But one of his quotes regarding money was, "The best way to achieve wealth is through the disdain of it." I like that. It's very difficult to understand, but I liked it because to me it meant that when you love money so much that you're pinching pennies and scared to make any risk, you'll never see it come through. When you're chasing money, it runs away from you. When you're focused on having a good product, a good purpose, a good mission, money becomes a byproduct of your effort. So don't focus on the cash, don't focus on the wealth. Let it come to you by being the kind of person that attracts it naturally. Focus on providing.
Focus is the core pillar around the Legacy Forge podcast. It's foundational, and it's actually one of the core words of the mantra of Focus, Forge, and Ascend. Yeah, so focus on the mission, focus on your identity, who you are, why you're here. Then we can forge the path, and then we can ascend into growth and take others with us. Yeah.
Exactly
If
right.
I dropped you in front of, say, 1,000 or even 10,000 legacy-driven leaders tomorrow, what's the one truth you'd hammer into them?
I'm sorry, what was that? Your audio kind of died out a little bit.
Okay, my audio. Okay, if I dropped you in front of 1,000 legacy-driven creators, or even 10,000 tomorrow, what's the one truth you drive home to them?
The one truth I drive home to them. Well, to people that are already legacy driven, already focused, and very successful in what they do, there really is only one thing to always come back to. When I started seeing success in my life, surprisingly, I became unhappy because the further that I climbed, the more that I wanted. And I realized that I was slipping into a very dark, dark path. I was in the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., in the government building, shaking hands with some major politicians and investors of them. And I heard this much older, much, much, much richer man say to me something that terrified me for the rest of my life. I would always tell people, my girlfriend, my family, my friends, that the reason why I do everything that I do is in the pursuit of freedom. I want to be free financially. I want to be free to live the way that I want. By this point in my life, when I was in DC, I was doing better than ever before. And yet I was unhappier than ever before because I wanted more still. I shook hands with this gentleman. He asked me what I did. I told him a little bit about myself. And even though this was a multi-millionaire, he said to me, "Wow, I admire you because you have the one thing that I've been spending my whole life chasing, freedom." That traumatized me, bro, because I looked at him and I thought to myself, "Oh my God, this guy is so old, has everything that I could ever want, and he's still chasing the same thing that I am." So I realized what I'm doing right now is not bringing me happiness because I'm stuck in this greed. I'm stuck in this climbing more and more and more, and I forgot about the freedom in the pursuit of money. I got caught up in that. So, to legacy leaders, people that are already finding success in their life, I would remind them to take a step back and focus on why they started in the first place, not where they are right now. And if you're already finding success in your life, learn to be happy before you learn to want more.
And in that happiness comes gratitude for those that we have, and even the small stuff on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
Right.
There's a simple exercise that I do every, or even twice a day with me and my partner, and it's be grateful for three things at the dinner table
Yep.
every morning and every night. What's three things you're grateful for? What's three things? It keeps my humbleness and humility in check and keeps me in the moment, because being a man, I do go down that rabbit hole of chasing things
Right.
rather than
Of course.
impact at times. Keep my ego in check, keep myself on my soul moment, because I'm very passionate about impacting others' lives rather than toys, cash,
Mhm.
mementos. Yeah, it's all about happiness of self, happiness for others, and the greater good. So thank you
Exactly.
for being here, Sebastian, and going deeper with us. Yeah, this conversation wasn't about stocks; it was about standards, the standard of
Mhm.
self, how we handle ourselves on stage. We could go on for hours and going down on professional speaking. That's another rabbit hole. I might bring you back a later episode for that.
Yeah.
Speaking is a skill these days. Definitely an art. And you've made it very clear wealth isn't just what you trade or what you pitch on platforms. It's what you teach. There's a lot of empty speakers out there who are just pitching for performance. And
Right.
there's a lot of
Amen
great
to that.
speakers out there who are impacting, transforming lives and taking leaders with them. And you've become what you've enabled to pass down to others. Do you have any kids, by the way? You got a family?
No kids.
No,
Yeah,
not yet.
I'm
Not
23
yet. So
years
you,
old right now.
yeah, still in your prime. So you're so on the field. Yeah, still. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
beautiful.
doing my thing. You know
I,
how it is.
I'm 40, mate. So look up to the older men.
Will do.
That's my sort of advice. Being young fella. I mean, where I was at 23, I'm nowhere to who I am today. Look up. You're probably already doing it. Look up, find some older men who have got the fruit on the tree that you want, and stick around them, because there's not many 23-year-olds that are in the realm of building businesses or living their life that's greater and purposeful. They're in the party moment, the boy moment still. Yeah. So thank you for being on here this morning or this evening, wherever you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen. To everyone listening, where in your life are you trading short-term gains for long-term drift? It's a question I want to see out to everyone. And what legacy could you build if you reset that standard now, today, now? That's the work we do at the Arate. That's the work we voice through the Legacy Forge podcast. And that's the fire of the Legacy Forge. So again, Sebastian, I want to thank you for being on this episode 9, Wealth, Identity, and Legacy. And for our lovely viewers out there, this was a complete ad hoc sort of conversation. No scripts, just a complete yarn, as us Aussies do it. And the Americans love it. But yeah, thank you. And like and subscribe on all major platforms on iTunes and Spotify. And until the next episode, thank you. Any last words?
No, it's been an honor to be here. So thank you so much.
Cool. All righty. Thank you very much. Have an awesome time. And until the next episode, bye for now.